Project Titan is canceled, so no Apple Car? This is MacVoices. Today's edition of MacVoices is supported by Backblaze. MacVoices listeners get a fully featured no-risk free trial at backblaze.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is MacVoices Live. It's Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We're on youtube.com/MacVoices TV. You should be here with us in the chat room. If you're not, mark your calendar for next time and get here because it's always fun. We have a bunch of our friends in there already. The comments and cracks have been flying already, so it's always interesting. Sometimes the chat takes a completely different direction, and sometimes it stays right in line with us. You just never know. We have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We also have a monster panel, so we're just going to get right to it, let you know who's here, and then we'll hit at least one or two pretty hot topics and probably some more as well. So I'm going to take my screen as it exists right now. And as always, Dave Ginsburg is up in the top left of my screen. Dave, good to see you, but I know you are under tornado warnings, so I hope you're here by the end of the show.
I hope I am too. No, it looks like the storms are going. I'm watching it on the radar here, slightly past above us, but there's some bad thunderstorms, but warnings are popping up. But no, but I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. So glad you're safe.
Yeah.
Brian Flanigan-Arthurs is here as well. Brian, good to have you. You're a little bit south of Dave, so you probably don't have tornadoes.
No, I've seen him in movies and TV shows, though, a couple of times.
Oh, you just have dust storms.
Yeah, you could say that.
Marty Jencius is here. Marty, good to have you back as always.
It's good to be back. The weather is perfect here in Kent, Ohio. So those of you who are around tornadoes, why don't you just fly over here and settle in Kent?
Now you've got an invitation, guys. So there you go. Marty has a spare room.
Not for long.
See you in a bit.
Just bring your headset, Eric.
Okay. Yeah.
Eric Bolden is here, but this time no fauna, no birds, no nothing. It's just a bridge.
Well, but it's a bridge with snow on it on a sunny day. The bridge was hot and it had snow. It was just weird. It was a strange year.
Okay.
It's kind of
no. On my screen, it's not evident that it's snow, but I'll take your word for it.
I figured it was this bridge with snow or a bunch of chewed up trees that were evidence of beavers, but I wasn't sure where that was going to go. So I thought
you know exactly where that was going.
Yeah, that was going nowhere good with this group. So
yeah, let's not talk about beavers on this show.
Yeah, thank you for the bridge.
Bridges it is.
It has those are stripes of snow, or
because the sun was coming in and
through the slats,
it melted strips down.
Oh,
it even has the weight.
That's cool. Yeah.
Now I got it. Yeah, I thought it was just boards laid
out of the way so you can see.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Got it.
That is neat.
Yeah, that is definitely worth a picture. Okay, so we're also worth a picture, Mr. Ben Roethig. Ben, good to have you. Hopefully you are not experiencing what David's experiencing.
Nope. I just experienced the wear shorts during a 72-degree weather, then prepare for snow.
Okay. Sounds good. Back with us for the first time in a while, we're delighted to have him, Webb Bixby, a.k.a. Bizarro Jim Ray. Webb, it's great to have you back.
Good to be back, Chuck. It's like I said, I've been participating through the YouTube chat, but it's good to be back in the room. So thank you.
Well, we knew you had some other priorities, but glad you made it back. But you want to talk a little bit about your whiskers?
No.
Okay. All right. It's a new look. I like it.
It's I've been out and I'm I'm on extended medical, so I'm not back to work, and I just figured, yeah, I'm out for 6 weeks. I'll just kind of let it grow out a little bit. So, and then I did get a haircut the other day, so my barber kind of helped kind of trim it up and give it some shape too. So it's just normally it'd be no shave November, but it's no shave February right now. So
Works for me. Works for me. There were questions about how much Jeff Gamet shaves in the pre-show. So I'm just going
Fair.
to welcome Jeff and say, do you have a favorite blade?
Wesley
I actually
Snipes.
do.
Really?
Yes, I use shark blades. I have a safety razor. I don't use disposables, so I buy packs of shark razor blades and just pop those in. Totally old school.
Okay.
You were not expecting a straight, legit answer to that one.
Yeah, I was not expecting a legit answer. And I was not expecting that answer. So that's very interesting.
They hold their edge really well because
Yeah.
they're not stamped. They're actually ground for the blade. They work great.
Very nice. Okay. Someone who apparently has not seen a razor for a while, Mr. Guy Serle.
Yeah, my favorite blade is Wesley Snipes.
You're going to be able to do a comparison before too long.
Oh, is there a new blade?
Yeah, they're totally new blade coming.
Okay.
I think in 2025.
Yeah. Bring the day walker.
Yeah, well, it's
Bring
good to
out
be
your
here.
Yeah.
daywalker.
Good to have you, Guy.
It's nice to be had.
Next up, the real Jim Ray. Jim, it's good to see you.
You think it's the real Jim Ray?
Well, it's close to the real Jim Ray as we're going to get, but
That's right.
I think you should be honored that somebody out there thinks enough of you to imitate you.
I said I was. I
Okay.
think that might be the biggest honor anyone's ever bestowed on me. So
There you go. There you go. Last but absolutely not least, this time without a background, in a different location, Mr. Mark Fuccio. Mark, it's good to see you. Where are you? Oh,
and you're muted.
He's
no audio,
someplace where
Mark.
there's no atmosphere, so his voice can't
Yes.
carry to the microphone.
Breaking, Mark Fuccio is on the moon.
Yeah.
Wow.
The restaurants
hear
are
us?
great, but they still get bad reviews.
And
No atmosphere.
the moon has trees. Sorry, Mark. It's going to make your commentary a little bit difficult tonight.
But there
Okay.
he
Never
is.
sounded better.
No, Mark, break in when you get it fixed. We'll get going here for the sake of the audience. But yeah, sorry, you are. I don't think I can unmute you. Now I can
Mark
hit?
has to start doing his part of the discussion tonight as interpretive dance.
Yes. I'm not sure I want to see that either.
Oh,
Anyway,
I kind of do.
No, I kind of don't. So our first story got rearranged a little bit because today Apple announced that apparently Project Titan, which is AKA the Apple car, is no more. And it seems to be reported from a number of different sources and reliable sources. So let's assume that it is gone. From what I read,
Wait, did Apple actually announce it?
that was the way I saw it.
Not
Jeff?
publicly.
Nah.
They told the teams that they were going to dissolve it, but they haven't said anything publicly. But they never said publicly they were doing it, did they?
No.
Exactly.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. Yeah. So
So now we're going to discuss the hypothetical cancellation of a hypothetical project.
Well,
Yeah, well,
hypothetically.
Mark Zuckerberg immediately released and said the car they weren't going to make was going to be better.
okay, that's one for Marty. That's yeah. I mean, Webb makes an interesting point. I think it was widely understood that there were people heading up this project and all, but it was never publicly announced as a product under development. So now, and from what we know as we recorded this, the teams are being, I guess, moved around, and a number of them have been moved into the AI projects, which also have never been announced, really. So, we've spent a lot of time on the show speculating about what an Apple car would be. Would it be an actual physical car? Would it be the operating system? I think a couple of weeks ago, we even talked about, where CarPlay would fit in. Could that be what was being referred to as an Apple car? So I'm kind of anxious to hear what everybody thinks about this. Good, bad, indifferent, surprise, not surprise, good idea, bad idea.
I don't think they ever actually were going to make a car. I think that people have to write about something, and to me, it just seemed more like, Apple was likely working on different types of technology related to the automobile or the automotive field, but were never really serious about getting the factory and building a car. I just could not see that happening.
Yeah. Mark Fuccio, are you in with us?
Mark is here. Can you hear me, Chuck?
We can
and
hear
others?
you. We can hear you now.
Yes,
we can hear you now. Good to have you.
Good. I'm joining on my iPhone, and I had to, control and update some of my settings.
Yeah, understood.
But I can't stay for long, so I may drop out in a couple or other minutes. But anyway, back to you.
Well, Mark, you were the one that that posted the announcement in our Slack about the Apple car. So, and especially if you have to leave, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are, first, when I heard about it, is another rumor, and then looking at it, it came from Bloomberg, and I don't think the original story was bylined by Mark Gurman. But, when reading into it, they had like 2,000 or plus people. And I figured, okay, well, there's no way 2,000 people can keep their lips closed. So there must be some veracity to the story. And it's unfolding. I haven't seen anything, in the past 4 or 5 hours, just because I've been busy. But given all the results of the past couple months of the stall out of sales of EVs in the U.S., and the building inventory of EV vehicles, it seems like Apple is making a hard decision that, hey, maybe this market isn't as ready to take off as we thought it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago when we started this project. So let's move into AI and all sorts of other stuff that seems like it's a lot hotter and ready to go. So I think they're redeploying resources in response to changes in the external environment.
Thank you. I honestly hadn't thought about the issue of what seems to be the declining popularity in EVs. So that's a really good point. Ben, I saw your hand go
up. There's another part to that. Self-driving cars have not progressed as many thought they would. Beyond that, right now we don't really even have a legal framework for privately owned self-driving cars. This is pretty much to a point where, yeah, Apple could get into a very, very crowded market, but I don't think they really had a chance to innovate at this point.
Jeff?
Okay. So, Tim Cook has been telegraphing for a long time that a car is very likely not happening. When he was asked just straight up several years ago, is Apple making a car? His response was, hey, if you want to learn a lot about AI and machine learning and how to implement these things, and paraphrasing here, in a very effective way, The best way to do that is to design a car. And I think the car project has always been part of the overall AI plan. And regardless of whether or not it was ever in a place where it could come to market, Apple, I think, was looking at this as, even if we don't bring a car to market, everything we're doing feeds into our AI efforts. And I think if Apple had progressed faster 5 years ago, maybe we would have been looking at Apple releasing a car now. But since there is no Apple car happening now, it's too late. And yes, Apple is late to market with all kinds of things because they do it better. But this is one of those places where it is too late. And I think part of that includes Apple realizing that the ultimate fix for the whole vehicle thing and just dealing with energy use and all that, it's not putting new and different cars on the road. It's coming up with different transportation systems that address communities in a better way. And that's not something that even Apple can change, because that involves like top level government down to your local city councils, and massive efforts to get the automotive industry to change what they do for products. And that's not going to happen. So here we are with Apple. And you mentioned that Apple hasn't like officially talked about AI. Not true. They actually have Ajax. They have MLX. They have tools that are out there as open source AI products today that are being used by other companies, including Google, and they're very open about they're doing all kinds of hiring in this space. Like, you can go to their website today, and I bet you'll find a ton of AI related job openings. And so moving these people from a car specific project to the various AI projects, for a lot of these people, it's probably not that much of a change from what they were doing already.
Thank you, Jeff. I stand
said, "Stay tuned."
Yeah, yeah. And thank you, Jeff. I stand corrected on the AI, on the official AI positions.
Well, I mean, your misunderstanding of that, totally understandable, because this is one of those things where unless you are actively following what's happening in the big AI, big LLM, big ML spaces, you wouldn't know, because this isn't a thing where people are slapping an Apple logo on their AI related projects.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by Backblaze. Mac Voices listeners and viewers get a fully featured, no-risk free trial at backblaze.com/MacVoices. Visit that link, play with it, and start protecting yourself from potential bad times. Start today. If you are in an enterprise environment, choosing Backblaze as your remote backup makes a ton of sense. Protection of your company's data can be easily managed through a central admin, and the data protection on all the machines is automatic. Deployment is simple across multiple workstations with various options, so you get exactly what you want and need. And if you do need to restore due to data loss or a ransomware attack, you have lots of options, from online through the web app, iOS app, or Android app. You can also restore by mail. Get a hard drive shipped to you with all your data to get you back up and running quickly. Just return the drive within 30 days for a full refund. Over 55 billion, yes, that's billion with a B, files have been restored for customers from Backblaze. To see why Backblaze is recommended by Inc. magazine, go to backblaze.com/MacVoices. And while you're there, take advantage of the fully featured no-risk free trial. That's backblaze.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Backblaze for supporting Mac Voices. Webb?
A couple of things. First of all, I look at the Apple car project, it has two aspects to it. One is going to be the computer intelligence, but the other is still just the automotive engineering aspect of it. And I always had a problem with Apple getting into the car business itself. It's a very complex business. That they're even you look at Tesla and some of the other Rivians and some of the others where they tried this direct to consumer model, and there are some states that still object to that. And just getting into that automotive space for Apple was kind of interesting. The two pieces, I still think that there's going to be a whole big flood of automotive engineers that are probably going to be released. I don't think they're going to be reassigned within Apple. I think that'll be interesting to see what happens to that. As somebody who has an electric vehicle, it's not my primary vehicle, but I do have one. And I like it a lot. It's a very unique driving experience, but and this has nothing to do with Apple being in the car business. But the problem I have with EVs is the infrastructure to get the thing charged. It's still difficult. Now it could get better, and it's going to be different 5 years from now than it was 5 years ago. But it's still a pretty big deal. As a matter of fact, if I'm planning a trip that's say more than 250 miles, I'm going to take the gas car, quite honestly. I just don't want to go into it and start searching around and have the range anxiety. If you have an electric car, you know what that is. So yeah, there are just a lot of things. I never thought Apple was going to get into the car business. I thought they were going to get into the operating system business. That's what I always thought. I also thought they were going to partner with BMW. So system. Yeah.
Yeah. Marty?
Yeah, my comment's similar to Webb. I really, you look at all the other products that Apple has created, and I really thought a car, that's really kind of out of their wheelhouse from an engineering standpoint. Not necessarily the technology, but from an engineering standpoint. I do kind of regret that we will never see a fine woven tire. Just, thinking of their environmental impact of having fine woven material for tires.
That would have been the best.
Yeah.
They can be driven for tens of miles.
Brittany Smith is in the chat. She couldn't be here in the live with us, but she's in the chat, and she said she never thought that the automotive industry was a good fit for Apple, and I kind of agree with her. Yeah, and it's probably nothing that we haven't talked about before. The idea that the heavy manufacturing that goes into it, the dealerships and all the associated laws in the various states about dealerships. I mean, there were so many things that Tesla had to skirt around to get where they are. And, at some point you have to wonder. But the other thing, when I first heard about this, and then they started talking about people moving over to the AI teams, is how related is AI to a self-driving car? I mean, it seems like it would be pretty darn related. So I'm wondering how much they've been able to develop during that process that is transportable over.
A crap ton.
Yeah. I would say it's what Apple's AI project, was probably spun out of Project Titan.
Well, if that's the case, then
I think they were started simultaneously or in parallel at least.
Or intertwined.
Better way to put it. Yes. I think that's it right there. They've been intertwined probably from the beginning.
Jim, you said something in our private chat about China taking over the EV market.
Right.
You want to elaborate on that?
Well, BYD has already passed Tesla, and there's a bunch of Chinese companies that the Chinese EV market is exploding, and they're also moving into Europe. They haven't moved in here because there's a 25% tariff. But I think all the car manufacturers are, looking over their shoulder, including Tesla, at what's going on there. And I think it's kind of concerning because so many of the legacy companies now are taking their foot off the electrical gas. And I think that's very short-term thinking. And we're going to wake up in 2030 and the U.S. auto industry is going to need another bailout or will be gone.
Oh boy. The US auto industry I find it frustrating because they seem to just constantly go right back to building the bigger gas guzzling cars, and or EV guzzling, electricity guzzling. I don't know.
Well,
I was trying to keep the metaphor
going. They tend to do that too.
Yeah, and it's like I get torn because I know that that's what the American public buys. I mean, it still fascinates me that the number of pickups on the road from people that I talked to somebody the other day who said that, yeah, I drive a pickup and I've used the bed 3 times in 5 years.
Yep.
It's like, then why are you dragging it around with you? But that's another discussion. So I have to wonder if the Chinese companies would start to build cars that Americans would buy. Ben's shaking his head no.
Well, I don't think that matters because, one of the things I thought you were talking about the laws in different states. Well, this is a world market. It's not just the United States anymore. And, BYD is bigger than Tesla without selling a single car in the United States. And they're just getting started in Europe. So, I think the world is going to move on ahead and it doesn't matter what is going on here.
Ben?
I think that is true to a point. First, the US and Canada use different safety standards that are not compatible with the rest of the world. Literally to the point where if you were to buy a car in China or Europe and try to import it here, that car would be crushed because it does not meet federal motor vehicle or Canadian motor vehicle safety standards.
Even the glass.
But
well,
as
that's
far
because
as
they're making it for the market that they're making it for. But
exactly,
for example, Polestars are actually made in China and imported, and there's some sort of a loophole. And Tesla's making cars in China. So if it at some point it'll probably be economical for the Chinese to make cars for the American market, and they'll just they'll make them to U.S. safety standards. It's not like they can't. That's an explanation of why you're able to buy $12,000 EVs in China. Yeah, those would not be legal, but I'm starting to see on YouTube reviews of the latest Zeekr EV. It's a nice car that I think could easily be adapted. And I don't know if you're aware that the Vietnamese are now importing a car into the United States, the VinFast.
yes.
So that's not going to block. What's mostly blocking it right now is the tariffs.
Well, the 25%, the chicken tax, that is on basically trucks. Passenger vehicles do not have that tax. But as far as the development goes, I think we're basically on 2 different tracks here. Traditional BEVs are going to essentially, I think, people have realized they're going to be basically city commuter vehicles. I think the way that most, because it's going to take 20 years for the infrastructure to get there. Most what Japanese and American automotive companies are pivoting to is vehicles with either, well, right now, gasoline extenders, or in the future, hydrogen fuel cell extenders, which they're built on electric platforms, but they have that internal engine to recharge those batteries. So you can have smaller batteries
I hope you're wrong,
and extended range.
Because I'm going to be taking delivery of an EV in the next couple of days.
Ooh.
Which one?
A Genesis GV60. In fact,
Cool.
my sales guy he may still be watching the show. I was talking to him right before, and I'm like, I gotta go. I'm on an online. I'm like, actually, it's YouTube, and he's like, no, I'll watch. And he texted me that he actually was watching. So, hi, Isaac, if you're still there.
Hi, Isaac.
Hey, Isaac. So obviously there are at least some members of this panel that are following this a lot closer than I do because I'm not in the market for a car. I think I've said it on the show before. I have a hybrid. I have a Honda Accord hybrid that I'm very, very happy with because I don't have range anxiety. But I still get amazing mileage. But what I don't know is there an animal out there that is a plug-in hybrid that then also has a gas backup or a gas option, or is it another version of a hybrid? I don't know. Does anybody?
There
plug-in
is.
hybrid PHEV. So
sorry.
like a Prius.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jim, you're cutting out.
Yes, there is. There are cars like that. They're called PHEVs, plug-in hybrid. So like the Prius Prime, the RAV4 Prime, Lexus has one, BMW has a couple of them, Hyundai has one. But they're a little hard to find. There's not a super wide choice of that. But my wife has a BMW plug-in hybrid. She's had it for about 6 months, and it's only gone to the gas station once.
Yep.
Well, I just looking at my own habits and evaluating it. An EV would be fine for probably about 75 to 80% of the driving I do. It's that other 20%, give or take, that where I would start to have range anxiety or potential issues, because going one direction, there's no guarantee that I know that I will have a charger accessible to me or conveniently accessible. So that's where I wonder if any of these manufacturers will give us an option to flip a switch and say, okay, I'm just EV, for the first 4 days of the week. And then on the weekends, I flip it over and now I'm EV and gas and don't have the range issues.
There's no switch. You just drive until the battery runs out. So like my wife's car will go 20 miles. So typically it's 20 to 40 miles of electric range, and then beyond that. So, the plus is you can fill it either way. The minus is now you have 2 drivetrains to maintain and pay for. And you also don't have an EV. And once you drive an EV, it's like, oh, it's not the same thing. Even if it's a plug-in hybrid, still drives like a regular car.
Yeah,
An EV, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. That's why there's actually 2 very similar but very different types of vehicles. The plug-in electric hybrid is a vehicle where the gasoline engine is still physically connected to the drivetrain. Then there is the BEV with range extender, where the motor is just a generator.
That's really rare, though. BMW used to have that. I don't think they do anymore. The Volt used to be like that, but GM doesn't make it. I'm not even sure if there is any car like that on the market right now.
The well, I was going to say Dodge, the Ram Charger
Right. There's one.
1500.
Yeah.
Yep. Ford is developing a range extender for the F-150 Lightning, and as far as I'm aware, there are now several vehicles with a range extender in process, or in not in process but in development. Essentially, they'll just replace the frunk with a small, basically a small generator engine.
Yeah.
Somehow this turned into EVs Live. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but yeah, so we definitely won't have the Apple Car to kick around, at least not for a while, unless they revive it. And
The alleged Apple Car.
the alleged Apple Car. Thank you. Let's shift.
At least we're talking about.
Fine now.
Jim, we lost you. We've lost something going on with the audio tonight. We've lost your audio completely.
Yes, Jim gets to start doing interpretive dance now.
Yeah. Jim needs to be plugged in.
Jim's engine just switched over
Yeah.
to electric.
Yeah. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.